Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to the show tonight. I'm West Coast Wolf, your humble host, discussing you some issues concerning our community once again. Tonight's topic is considered to be very, very important, and the title is Poor Parenting. Poor Parenting, an epidemic overwhelming our progress for the next generation. Okay, now, this is a touchy subject. I know it is, and I'm gonna do the best I can with being delicate with people's emotions and feelings, but a lot has to be said, and I need you to hear it. And after we're done, forward this video on YouTube to somebody who may need this information. Um, I'm be talking about this issue because I'm also a parent. I raised my younger brother from a very young age, probably 13, on to adulthood. I've helped many people with their children financially and also mentoring them. I know it's hard work, but we have to discuss these issues because this is really overwhelming our progress for the future. And I did look up some information because I wasn't sure. I want to talk about what does it mean to say a length of time considered a generation. A generation from the old days was considered to be 20 years. Okay, now they're considering a generation to mean 25 years. So why is that important? Well, that's part of the topic, and I want you guys to understand. I put generation specifically because we need to start looking at a projection of our future, and our future is our children and their grandchildren. So, what is this epidemic we're talking about today? The epidemic is poor parenting, and it seems that it's running rampant in our communities. And yes, we know there's a lot of hands behind the things happening in the black community. For white supremacy is really kicking the black community's ass with all the problems they're giving us. But we're also creating more problems than the last generation that we had in our families because we're not making good decisions on who we decide to be intimate with. I'm going to just put it like that. So this is very, very, it's very touching because I'm watching things as things play out in the black community. And listen, the family, we're so far down the rabbit hole. There's no turning back at this point. And since the '60s, we haven't had a good, strong presence of people having both their parents in the household, and you see major, major problems coming from that issue. So I want to talk about it tonight. So I'm gonna dig deep from my experience, from my life, and you guys maybe can comment on what you feel like you may know about this subject as well later on down the road. But I know it's election night, the night before election. A lot of folks might be looking at voting and looking at what's happening with the news and whatnot. A lot of people are very in fear of what's going to happen in this country next year when the power is transferred. January 20th, inauguration speech for the president, the new president. It's concerning, but going forward, it's going to be very, very important, family, that you will have your children on lock mentally, because we're going to a time where you're not going to have so many chances to get your kids back. And when I say get your children back, I'm talking about gain their trust, gain them emotionally, gain them educationally, because the chances that we had coming up, although we grew up in a different time, those who were children of the 70s, 60s, things are changing so fast that the gambles that our parents took with us are a mere luxury for us to look back upon, because no longer can you go through this life and gamble with your good years. And a lot of times, if you have poor parents, mentally, not physically, but mentally. Poor parenting. Parenting is a responsibility. If you don't have mature, able-bodied parents, they're gonna make a lot of mistakes with you and the grandchildren. So what's gonna happen is that's gonna be repeated. If that's the only example you've seen, you're gonna repeat those same mistakes. And it's very hard, family, when you have been ingrained in something for so many years to turn back and fight and have your own path and try to spear your future on your own merit without having your parents uh, playing their role in the back of your head, whether right or wrong or indifferent. Dysfunctional families, they create dysfunctional children. Those dysfunctional children grow up to be dysfunctional adults, and the cycle continues again. So before those who don't have children right now, those who contemplate having children right now, you need to make sure you have the proper parenting skills. Now, one argument might be, listen, nobody knows how to be a good parent until they do it. I don't believe that. I think you can do the best you can, and sometimes that means not being selfish. For example, I know a lot of people in my family and those of my friends and those people my friends know and those you see on the street, those you work with. It's in everybody's circle. So it's nobody pointing the finger at no particular one person or people. But here's the reality. We all know poor parents. Some of them have poor parents. Some of them know poor parents. But the question is, how did they become poor parents? It's the example that they were set for them when they were children, good, bad, or indifferent. And I'm gonna just say that at this point in time, I feel like, and it's been mentioned by other people. I'm not gonna say any names, but it feels like very much, family, that we're losing this battle with our children. It feels very much like there's more poor parenting who've created dysfunctional, disrespectful children to the point where we can't keep up, but checking them, disciplining them. So if we stay on this path, it's like I was told recently that we're having more and more young children, young men, young women, I'm talking like 17, 18, having 2 and 3 children already. And family, that is embarrassing. It's embarrassing because if these people have parents, why are they not being taught to be more self-controlled, to be more careful, to be more responsible with their bodies? Because once you have children and you're a child yourself, here's what happened in my family. Somebody in my family had a couple of children at an earlier age. And because this person had such a strict upbringing that they had children before they were grown and mature as an adult. So what happens is when you have children and you're a young person, you want to relive your young life all over again. So my point is we got to find a way to have some type of balance in our families. And the thing is, I noticed the people who cry the most about their problems, about their issues, I noticed that they take it out on their children. I noticed that they actually try to live through their children. And unbeknownst to them, create a cycle of dysfunction in the next generation, which means that let's say I'm 17, right? And I have a kid or two. Okay. That generation is already set up. That's 25 years from there on before the person gets to be an adult and maybe working, financially, being able to take care of themselves at 25 years old. Now, we know children always go home to their parents to get help in certain things, certain areas. But about 25 years old, that's 25 years in the future that this child becomes an adult, starts working, maybe in college or whatnot, get some sense under them. We have to get them to that point, though. So my question is, What are we doing as parents to get our children to the next step? And people always talk about, well, we want to discuss all the negatives. Let's talk about some of the positives. Well, you know what? If we have people in our circle who can assist us. Now, I'm not saying you can't just put your kids on other people and unbeknownst to them, they don't respect, people they don't trust. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, if you know you had some poor parenting experiences and now your children are here, how do you turn that back around? How do you gain your children somewhat to get back on the right path, because they're going to be veering off to the left and to the right? That's normal, because if you don't give your children a set example of how to be and be determined, consistent with your discipline with your children, consistent with the raising of your children, if you don't do this, they're going to lead the same wishy-washy life. And 25 years down the road, when they get to be grown, 25 or whatever, they're going to still have those same problems. And you're going to be looking at yourself like, why is this person like this? Because when you were young, in your tender young age, you had children before you was a mature adult. So now your children are going to reflect the poor choices that you made as a poor parent. So how do we fix that? Well, let's discuss a few things about even the precursors to that. Parenting. Because you have sex with a man or a female, a male or female, because you produce children out of that union, does not make you a responsible parent. So sometimes we got to go backwards before we go forward. So let's stop here. Okay? If you have children already, here's what you need to do. You need to sit down with your children and have an honest discussion with them. Because chances are great you're losing them already. Because we were meant to have a mother and a father in the same household. That's just the way it was. Women are doing an outstanding job, some of them, to raise children on their own. But what happens at that union is women have to become the man and the woman. What does that mean? If you're overly masculine as a woman, it's going to overpower the male children out of that union a lot of the times. If you're very, very soft with male children, you're going to also create a young man who may not respect women. He may be overpowering because maybe the example he saw with his father or whoever else was in the life abused the woman. So there's no one way to be raising children as a parent. You got to look at being a balanced individual. You can't be too hard with the males and the females that you might be raising up. You can't be too soft with them. You got to be somewhere right in between. I liken it to, told me sometime about older people that raising children is like having a bar of soap. You hold it too tight, they're going to pop out the top. And they're going to go buck wild when they get loose from you. You hold it too loose, they're going to slip out the butt and be lazy and not efficient in their life either. So either way it goes, you're going to lose that bar of soap. You hold it too tight, it's going to jump out, pop out. You hold it too loose, it's going to fall out the butt. So being parents, you have to change course. You have to stop what you're doing and turn around and get some assistance. Because I know a lot of times as parents, sometimes if you made some bad moves with your children, they're not going to respect what you got to say. Sometimes you have to bring somebody else into that picture to help gain your children back. Now, the problem is a lot of families is, in the black community, we got too much pride. We want a lot of that to happen. This is my kids. I don't know about what to do with my kids. I know what's best for them. Woo woo. But you know, if the end result is really the children, you should be willing to do whatever it takes to save your children. White folks, they got their own set of problems too. I'm not saying they don't, but they're just different than what we go through. Because the world is their oyster, can do whatever they want. We got to teach our children to be more careful navigating life. So the precursor to being a poor parent is, one, not to be a parent before you're ready. And it might sound real easy, might sound like a simple fix, and it might sound like, oh yeah, I know that already. But in the end, but the reality of it is, when you really know something, you do something different. When you really know something, you make better decisions. When you really know something. So people can say, I know this, I know that. You don't know shit if you got kids and you don't know what to do with them. You don't know shit if you got children growing up and you can't even recognize them. They don't listen to you. Then you messed up somewhere. But the responsible thing to do, the mature thing to do, is to get your child a mentor outside the household. Somebody that you could trust, gonna get them on the right path, somebody they gonna respect. Because the end result should be becoming a better parent. And you got to create that communication line with your children. If you lost it, only way you're going to get it back, family, I'm talking from experience, is with honesty. Raising my brother, I did the best I could with what I had to work with. When he left the home of my mom and had her new husband. But I'm going to tell you, raising him to be a grown man, the best thing I did was honesty with him. And I'm telling my parents out there, you have to be honest. And if you lost your children already, I'm going to just say a child is never really lost. Because you just got to find a way to reach them. Let me tell you something. This is true. My father was very abusive with us, okay? But the way God put in us, the way it is with parents, what I learned is you still love them to death. It's amazing. I don't know how it works as far as that's concerned, but your parents who brought you into this world, no matter what they do to you, for the most part, for your first maybe 18 years of life, most kids will still have love for their parents. Most children will still love their parents. I don't care what they do. I've seen people get molested by their parents, physically abused by their parents, verbally abused by their parents. Some way, somehow, children find a way to love those individuals. Now, outside of being sexually assaulted or molested or raped by your father or your mother or whatever case may be, outside of that, there's children waiting to forgive their parents, just waiting. Let me tell you something. I was a very, very angry young man all up to my 30s. And I tell you, things which people were telling me after my divorce from the ex-wife, I had to sit down myself and think about this through. I wanted to address my father's situation with my father coming up, how he dealt with us. And I noticed that when I had to sit down with my old man, we talked for like 2 hours. And I told him everything I had to say to him, everything in my heart. As a grown man, I'm going to tell you, when I left that conversation, it was a load lifted up off of me. Because I gave that man of all these years what I really wanted to say. That I was too afraid to say as a child because my father was just like that. As a grown man, looking him in his eyes, had that talk with him. And the problem is we have too many parents in our community who are afraid to have that honest, that real talk with their kids. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can be the hardest parent in the world. When you get that call from your child, from somebody talking about your child is passed on or strung out on drugs or on the street, and you feel you can't reach them, you answer me this. What is more important, your pride, your foolish pride, or getting your children back off the street if there's still a chance to get them off the street because they're not dead yet? Because if they get this in these streets, family, and the streets take them, you'll never be able to have that talk with them to gain them back if you messed up as a parent. So my thing about people today, my parents, those who contemplate having children, you can't have children out of being selfish. You really can't. Because when it comes down to it, men can leave. For my sisters, men can leave. Yes, they can. Because you have the baby. The law also is in your favor a lot of times. So that's the thing on the man side. But the end result is, if you lay down with a man and you have unprotected sex with a man, every time you do so, you are gambling. You are gambling that you might not get pregnant. You are gambling that this man may be a good father, may be a good role model for your child. But you have to really think about it. And I took for a long time, I wondered about why women tested men the way they do when I was coming up. It's a different game now, but when I was coming up, women tested men. And they probably still do in different ways. But I realized that, and I read something somewhere that talked about how women bear the brunt of the relationship because women's, like, for example, I'm breaking it down to a scientific level. They say women's parts are inward. So anything in a relationship happens in a relationship, women take on that. They absorb that. Men's parts are on the outside. So men have to give women their problems, their issues. Women absorb the emotional content of the relationship. So based on the way our genitalia is affixed on us, it talks a lot about how we handle our issues. So basically, in so many words, if you lay down with a man and you absorb all he has to give you, that's emotionally, that's physically. If this man is not going to be a good product of a healthy relationship with you, if you particularly have kids with this man, could be accidental, could be on purpose. Women have to really be careful who you decide to have unprotected sex with, because once your children are here, and if you lay down with a man who ain't shit, nothing you're going to do is going to change that. Nothing. Same with a man. If you lay down with a woman who ain't shit, nothing you're going to do is going to change that. So this is how poor parenting starts. We start by embracing the wrong people. Now, if you already have children, you have to do everything in your power. You have to put yourself aside. You have to have some one-on-one time with yourself and sit down. If your kids are balanced, you feel like they're going to school, you feel like they're on the right path, they're not in the wrong, they're not in the drugs, they're not messing with the wrong people. Okay, that's fine. It's easy to maintain something that's good already. But when I consider to talk about poor parenting, I'm talking about people who already messed up and trying to get it right. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't know what's about me and children. I guess because I had a lot of problems coming up when I was growing up in life. I know how to deal with people's children because I was once that young man who had them type of problems. Now, if you have been sexually assaulted by your parents or somebody in the family, I can't really help you with that because I ain't had that problem. But we was abused in every other way. And I would tell you, it just hurts me that I go to a lot of people, talk to even white folks, man. I talk work people, white folks, black folks, Asian folks. And you know what, family? We have different problems. But to resolve the problems, it's always the same channels. It's always the same channels. Outside of maybe the sexual abuse. But verbal abuse, making your kids feel like they're insufficient. You always talking negative because when I was coming up, my mom would say, "You just like your dad. Y'all just like your daddy." Now, my mom was a good mom. I'm not saying my mom was bad. My mom was a good mom. She did the best she could do. But what happened is my dad was also immature, you see. Starting out a relationship, a marriage, or a relationship with a man, dating or whatever it is, you have to start out with a mature man. Because women, like we talked about before, you guys embrace emotions from a man. You absorb all a man because that's a woman's supposed to be compliment to a man, a compliment. So if you get a man who is destructive, he's going to eventually destroy you. I'm not saying women can't be destructive either, because it comes from who you saw as the example coming up. But I'm saying that for the most part, you take two people who immature, inexperienced, like my parents. A prime example. My mama was my mama was fine. My mama was beautiful. She was raised very well. Okay. My father came from a house full of hardship and drama. He brought that into the relationship, and it destroyed my mama for the most part, a lot of the ways. Even now, as an older person, she ain't the same. But what she do, when they finally got divorced, she put all that pressure on us as the children. She put all that, because all she knew how to do was try to protect us by being overly strict, trying to keep her foot on our neck. Because she had 3 boys to deal with and 1 girl. So how did that affect us, the situation? Well, she overdid in a lot of ways. But as a man, looking back, I understand why she did what she did. But I know I'm not the rule. I'm the exception to the rule. A lot of the children you can't gain back. A lot of children you're going to get out there on that level, they're not going to come back with just your power alone. So if you was a poor parent, the best thing you could do is step aside and let somebody come in and interject and help you with your children. People always talk about what's the solution. The solution is this. How far gone are you with your children? If you're gone with your children. If they to the point you're not on talking terms, they out of the house, they don't want to talk to you, they're done with you, you got to crack the door open at some point. To get that door to open again, you may have somebody to mediate, somebody they respect, somebody you respect, they trust. And to braid the relationship along again. Because it takes a while to get a wedge in the door that's been closed for so long. And I'm telling you, I ain't talked to my dad for a long, long time after that, before that. And when I sat down and talked to him, I was then able to move on with my own life. At this point in my life, I feel like I'm fully complete as a man to the point where I don't have no baggage I'm carrying. Until I was 32 years old, I carried the baggage. Because in the back of my mind, I was dealing with my dad and the drama that he put in the family. I never dealt with that. It was dealing with me. And I'm going to tell folks out there who understand what I'm talking about. Some of you guys don't get it. Some of you guys, you maybe don't understand it because you had a good upbringing. But I'm just telling you, family, it starts with honesty. It starts with humility. You can be the toughest parent in the earth. But if you lose your children, what does it matter? You know what I'm saying? If you lose your children, what does it really matter? How tough you was as a parent. You was hardcore. That don't mean shit. If the end result, your children's in the street, some of them they're gonna lose their life. Some of them be struggling on drugs for the rest of their life. Some are gonna be on the street selling themselves. Some people gonna be in the crime, in the drama, men and women. If the end result is that, who cares if you was a tough and hardcore parent? They feared you. That don't mean nearly enough. My father ran the house with fear. He ran the house with as authoritarian. Yeah, that was good for boys to some degree until they start drinking. You follow me? Then things got on the deep side, on the other side. It got a little crazy. So leaving that situation, my mama left that. She was like fractured. She was fractured. And that right there showed me what a man can do to a woman if he's not careful. Now, the other side is this. We got some strong-minded women out there, too. A lot that we've seen a lot more of that now because I grew up in a time family when the man was head of the house, okay? That's the time I grew up in. A lot of folks ain't never seen a man in the house. I can't blame you for that because you didn't ask to be here. Your parents made a decision when they laid down with somebody. So for you, those who never seen a man in the house and how a man should get down as a leader of a house, I sympathize with you. But here's the result. You got women that's too strong in the household, overbearingly strong, more masculine than feminine. That's not going to create no good, positive role models for the young men in the household. And I'll tell you more than not, you got either an overly violent young man coming up in a household because his emotions are everywhere, because his mama's emotions are everywhere, or you got an effeminate type of young man coming up in a household who's not sure how to be a man. Neither one of us is his fault. But what the parents should do in that situation, if you got time, still in your house, if you got time, if the father not taking the time with the child, if you can't find the father, or if he's there and he's not doing it with the kids, it's up to you to find him a male role model. Somebody you respect, somebody you trust, and also somebody a young man can trust and respect. That is the only way, family, that you're going to have a chance at getting you a young man to be mature, responsible, a young man one day. You're not going to do it by yourself. I've seen this play out many times. Never have I ever seen, and I've seen a lot of dysfunctional households, never have I seen a young man become a strong young man when him and his mom is at odds. It's always taking a third party to get him back right. Because young men need male energy. He needs male energy to become a man he needs to be. If he comes out starting to come out at 5, he may not be able to become a 10 in his life because he didn't have it in the beginning. Because the earlier you learn certain things, family, the faster and the more powerful you'll be later on. So chances are great if your young man's at a 5 as far as masculine energy, as far as responsibility as a young man, if he's at a 5 with you, he may get to be an 8 with a strong mentor figure in his life. But it's not going to happen within the household. It's not. Get that out of your mind. Say yourself 20, 25, 30 years and grandkids later to find out it ain't going to happen with a man in the household. Because a man in the household right now, I'm going to talk to people who got fathers in the household too. You got fathers in the household? You got kids in the household that not the young men in the household is still not reaching the level of leadership, masculinity, responsibility that he should as a young man with his father there. It's not going to happen on his watch. You need to go outside of that situation and find him somebody to get your young man to the next level. So if his father taking care of that thing, the mama, then it's your time to step in. See, people got this all wrong in the life we live in right now. Women stepping in when they shouldn't be stepping in. At some point you step in with your father, your son, with the father. Sometimes you don't. You stay quiet. This is the way, because the problem we have with our kids now, I'll take it from the African way back. To be a young man in Africa, the tribes, they had a rites of passage. A rites of passage, which means that to become a man, a young man of the tribe, to become on your journey to become a man, you have to do something you have to do. There are certain trainings, certain things you have to do. Even in Spartan, early Greece, they had to do something to become part of the community as a grown man, a transition, so to speak. So in today's life, family, quotes, air quotes, in civilized society, there is no rites of passage for the young black man. There is none. It's the streets. He a hardcore cat. Did he beat anybody out? Did he knock somebody out? Did he sell some dope? Did he procreate, get some children? Did he shoot somebody, pistol whip somebody? This is all they know about rites of passage on the street. You see? And none of it has to do with being a man. None of it has to do with being a man. So if you're raising children, you're raising male children when there's no father present, or the father's present is not taking his responsibility seriously, it's up to you as the woman to find him somebody that he can talk to, that could be a big brother to him, to help him get to be that 8. Because he ain't going to be no 10. That might be exception to be a 10, but it's not the rule. Let's be realistic here, family. I know a lot of people say my kid can be this way. That's true. The chances are great he's not going to be that you want him to be. It's been too long, too much time has passed by for him to be that 10. He may become an 8 with the right male leadership in his life. That's what the fathers and the sons. Talking about the women and the daughters. If your mama wasn't on that level, it behooves her, if you're the mama, it behooves you to go find your daughter somebody you respect, somebody you trust, to help get your daughter to the next level. Because if you lean up on your own understanding, you don't have the skills you need to get to the next level with her, because it wasn't taught to you. I understand that. But at some point, family, we have to be realistic. We have to spend time to find somebody who has what you don't have and let that person help you with your children. And it drives me nuts because, for example, let's talk about money for a minute, very, very briefly. My parents did not know nothing about money, making wealth happen, all that shit. And chances great, people on this call, people going to hear this on YouTube, black families, most of your families didn't know nothing about it either. But some people in other communities, when they have that problem, you know what they do? They get on the phone and make some phone calls or find somebody who can teach their children about money. Things that they don't know how to do, they make sure to get the help that their parents, that them kids need. For example, talking to 2 Indian girls 3 days ago. I said they lived in El Dorado Hills, if you know that, it's in Sacramento. That's the ritzy part of the area. I said, talking to them, met them in San Francisco, and they're both in college. They look like damn twins almost, Indian girls. One wants to be a cardiologist, which is a heart surgeon. One wants to be a neurologist, which is a brain surgeon. I said, wow, you guys are really smart. You guys are going to do it. And talked about they got good school grades in college or whatever. And I said, let me ask you a question, family. I said, let me ask you a question. What does your dad do for a living? Guess what they said? My dad's a doctor. Oh, okay. Internal medicine. What did your mama do for a living? Oh, my mom? My mom's a banker. I said, oh, wow. I said, okay, now I see where the big brains come from. You guys are doing pretty well as a family. But her mama is they said that my mama is the one. Said my mom is the one who's pushing us to be doctors too. But we like it. We like it. We feel it shouldn't be a problem for us. I said, really? She said, my uncle, her mother's brother, my uncle's a doctor. I said, oh, is that right? Okay. See, I'm always interviewing people. People don't even know I'm interviewing them. They don't know. I know how to do it. But it's the thing, I'm listening to getting stuff, soaking up information for you guys. Here's the thing. Check this out. Her daughter, and I didn't even know this, family. Maybe you guys knew this. I didn't know this. Do you know that there's some people out there, like, for example, the girl who wants to be a cardiologist, the oldest one. Her dad made a phone call. Not her dad. Her uncle, her mama's brother, made a phone call. He has a cardiologist friend. Okay, he let her go into one of his surgeries to perform while he performed a triple bypass on a person in real time. I said, wow, they can do that? So yeah, he let her shadow him. Now you tell me how many black folks we can just call somebody up and get somebody to go and help you get your daughter's career going and let you go in there and go into a live surgery to watch the operation happen. Now, sure, that might be something you can do to put in your resume to give some more feedback to her professors and whatnot to say, okay, yeah, give you some good marks on your grades or whatever. But how many folks we have in our community that can just stop what they're doing, make a phone call to call somebody across town to give you the information that you need for your child? Probably none of us in a monetary ways, because we'd have money if we did. A lot of us would. So here's my thing, you family. If that works for them people, Indian people, minorities also, if that works for them to be able to call somebody, they have the contacts, they have the wherewithal to get that done. What do you think they would do if one of their children were having some issues at home with them? They'd probably make a phone call to somebody to help them to help their daughter and help them with their daughter. But black folks, a lot of us, we ain't doing that. If you ain't got the skill set to get your children to the next level, why would you hold them back because of what you don't have? Why would you do that? Let me tell you something. I already know. If God bless you with children, I'll tell you what, my kid's going to be trained at an early age on how to protect themselves. They'll be trained at an early age on how to fish, trained at an early age how to make fire. All the things that I didn't know how to do, my kids going to be trained at an early age to do that. They ain't been spending time on video games all damn day. They ain't doing that. No. You play video games after you learn this, that, and other. Then we talk about some video games, okay? Talk about some leisurely things to do. Your homework done, talk about that. No. I need my kids to get what I didn't have. I don't have so much pride, and I got a lot of pride, but I don't have so much pride to the point where if Wolf don't have it, I'm going to let my kids suffer because of what I didn't have coming up. And I hear people talk about it all the time. My parents say, well, I ain't had shit. Guess what? Ain't leaving me shit. That is the wrong freaking answer, family. I'm sorry. They said to you guys, I'm sorry. That is the wrong answer. I want my kids to have a head start because I know who the opposition is. I know the white folks getting stuff done at a faster rate than us because they have the contacts, the wherewithal, the assertiveness, and they have the world's their oyster and the confidence to do what they need to do, get their kids to the next level. So as poor parenting situation goes on with our community, and generation is 25 years, like I said in the outset, 25 years. You cannot afford to have children unassisted in this time and age. You can't afford it. You cannot afford it. And nobody in this world is perfect. None of us are perfect. But what you can do, you can add to whatever skill you got for your children. You can add with that some contacts to help them with what you don't have. If you don't know math that well, get your children a tutor who knows math very well. English, science, same thing. If you don't have the life skills that your children need, get somebody who has those life skills. That's the solution. So, the outset, I brought this up because it's an epidemic going on right now. I'm going to talk about it respectfully as I can, but we have to talk about it. The epidemic is we got too many single-parent homes. Too many. And at this point, what I see and I'm very in touch with the system, and very in touch with what's going on the street in the Bay Area and what we have going here. I'm gonna tell you, like for example, tomorrow I'm doing the polls. I'm helping my brother Marshall get the polls out for the election. Okay, I'm doing that. And last year I met him down there doing this. He's an older gentleman, he's a senior. Okay, his foot was hurting, swole up, trying to get out here, get the vote out and whatnot. And I noticed, he said, Wolf, over the years, we have a lot more people doing this. But now it's hard to find people. We need people with fresh young legs. And I say it to say this to you, family. I say it to say this. The older generation retiring, they cannot do it like they did it before. My brother came 11 years later when my mom got older. She dealt with him best she could. I noticed she did not have the actual energy to whip him like she did us, to check him like she did us. I took that upon myself, and I took care of him to make him I ain't beat him and stuff like that, but I'm just saying that I took over that responsibility as the young man in the household, and to help lead my brother to be a grown man. So my thing to you guys is this, family. There's an epidemic going on right now. There's too many baby mamas out here. There's too many fatherless boys out here. And what's happening is they're duplicating these children faster than we can raise them. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to have a generation raise up. It's going to seem like out of nowhere of dysfunctional, unruly young adults. And we're getting too old. We're getting too far down in this corrupt country to be trying to go back and lead people who already raised up a certain way, who already got to a point where they feel they've grown and don't respect nobody. So if we don't start checking this now as a community, we're going to have problems that we ain't going to have nobody young enough, strong enough to check. And that's what the white supremacists want to have happen. They want to feed the prisons with dysfunctional young adults. Because from what I understand, they said that private prison profit is gone. But you know what? They know they wrecked 3 generations since the Vietnam War. They wrecked 3 generations of dysfunctional families with not having a father in the home, not a balanced father in the home. So at this point, there's still people out here to be put in prison. You don't give them a job. All they know is dysfunctional attitudes, mindsets, and abilities. Is all street, all crime, or all drama. If this is the overwhelming population of our community, it'll be easy to follow people into prison and jail. We got some good ones out there. We need to protect the ones who are really going the right path. Some shout out to some of our single parent moms who got it done and got the kids to the next level. We respect you, appreciate you, we love you for that. But there's too many people out here, and you see them at Walmart. I hate to say it, see them at Walmart, just letting their kids run rampant. We can't afford that, family. So if you know anybody who you can help, try to assist them if you can. I know a lot of times people don't want the advice, they don't want you to help, but do the best you can, because in the end result, we cannot lose the next generation. The gap is so great right now, family. If you guys could see what I see, the gap is so great right now. If we lose the next 2 generations, who's going to be young enough, more energetic enough to get those kids under their wing? Because a young man needs a strong woman to stay on him. And the strong woman in the world, you can't check no young man who think he grown, stronger, physically and emotional, up in a single parent mom's household with high emotions. You can't check that. You can't. So I'm opening the lines, and then I want something to say. On this subject, press 1 in the queue. You can speak. If not, I will say a few closing words. I know it's election time tomorrow. Hope you guys registered to vote, because like I said, besides the president's election, there's a lot of things on the ballot that's going to affect us. And I say, you know what? If you don't like to vote for any one of the options, damn sure better vote for the local stuff that's going on. We need to do a lot of stuff here. So I got somebody on the line. Let me see here. Last 4 digits is 8730. Welcome to the call. You live with West Coast Wolf.
Hey, Sean, what's happening? You know who this is. This is Sid.
Who?
We were at the movie theater together.
Sid?
Me, yeah, Sydney.
Sydney. Okay, I'm not sure I remember you, but okay.
Yeah, you do. But that's okay. The point I'm making is this is a very good topic. And the thing that you were talking about as far as our youth concern, it's something that we do need to work on collectively. Anything that you could do to put together, I'd like to be a part of that. And what I mean by that is about 10 years ago, we had the same type of conversation. And what we found out, and you touched on it, is that many of us men like yourselves and myself are going to have to become surrogate fathers for these males.
Right.
And not only that, without the dad, and these males are breeding and making sons and creating boys, they're actually setting up prisoners for the jail population.
That's right.
They're adding to
Right.
it. And they're the first ones in line. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. Everybody on the call, this is something serious. And my vision is in the next 50 years, we'll be in economic slavery because most of us on this call, if you're 50 and older, you're not going to be here in 2065. Right.
That's right.
So these kids that are having grandkids, they'll be 30 and they won't be able to get a job. They'll be illiterate and they won't have a chance. Why? Because we didn't make a change now. And so you're right on point. I just wanted to share that with you.
I appreciate you, my brother. Love you for that. And like you said, we're going to put something together. I'm looking at maybe in the springtime, we're going to do some events and we're going to do something outside. And we just got to see if we can get people together and really market to the young kids because we can save a few. And we need to start on that now because there's no way forward. They're not making they're not making a way forward for our children. This is done on purpose. They can say they want to stop the private prison profit now. Easy to do because 3 generations of kids already born, dysfunctional households, and just making it. And they're gonna be enough to people probably in prison for the next 20, 30 years already. So it's easy to say we're not gonna do that anymore. I know something about white supremacy that they live on this concept. It's better to apologize than to ask for permission. And we keep falling for the same trap. We looking for somebody to apologize. Forget about that. They'll go forward and destroy some things, come back later and apologize. Like the Flint, Michigan thing. They knew that water was terrible. They come back and apologize. After we catch them, people get sick. Oh, we apologize. Oh, it was a mistake. We got to stop falling for that. We got to stop falling for the okie doke. It's killing us. So, I see somebody go. Thanks for Brother Sid. We'll be in touch, my brother. Email me, family, bayareablack@gmail.com. We're going to talk, me and you.
All right.
I got another person want to talk. I got 9339. Welcome to the call. You're live West Coast Wolf, Bay Area Black Community Reloaded.
Hello, this is Mai, and I wanted to also compliment you. I'm good. How are you?
All right. Hanging.
Good. Okay.
What's on your mind?
I just appreciate the topic as well and thought that this was a very good call, a very important call tonight also. I wanted to just add that I also see parents holding their kids back, and a lot of it, like you said, is due to pride. Some of it, which is really hard for me to swallow and understand, but I know that it's real because I hear it too much, that it's actually jealousy. I don't understand how people could be jealous of their own kids, but that's another story. But regardless, those who aren't in either of those categories and who are looking for someone to help them with their kids, if they can pride or get over their jealousy, those included in as well. There are resources that are free, especially in terms of tutoring. A lot of people want to be paid now to help tutor, and that's a problem. Often our kids, there's always financial challenges in the homes, but they're at the schools. You will find, especially now since they have mandatory community service hours, so there are a lot of students who are, especially doing the lower, like fundamental requirements, courses, where they're able to get free tutoring from other students at school. So I don't know if there's anyone listening on the line, but that would apply to. But maybe someone can pass that on. Most likely the school they go to, and if not, they can go to the school board of their district and get a list from the school of free tutors for different subjects to help their kids. And then also, I was at a grocery store last night, and I heard this lady, and it was a Caucasian lady with her young son. He probably was about 7 years old. And I'm not sure what the topic was, what they were talking about before I, chimed in, but the words I heard him say was, yeah, I'm lucky. I was really lucky that happened. And the mother said, yeah, you were lucky, and you're lucky that you're so perfect. And I just went to myself, ew, right?
Wow.
My initial reaction was like, ew. But I kind of, understand that that's how a lot of them come up and are taught. They really are taught. That's why they have that, how they keep that supremacist mindset going, first of all.
Exactly.
I believe. But also, it tells that child to be and not think that they can't do anything. They believe that they can do anything. Those are the most invincible mindset, type of people that I've ever encountered is the white people. And simple words like that, telling that child that they're perfect, that he's perfect, I understand building a child's self-esteem, and that's a problem that we have, I believe, in our community, that we don't have high enough esteem and belief and respect and all that stuff in ourselves. And so that carries out into our community and how we treat others as well. If we don't respect ourselves, we're not going to respect anyone else. If we don't esteem ourselves, we're not going to really esteem anybody else. So I do believe there's a level of that required. Perfection is another story. It is unattainable, and we know that, but they don't think so. So I wanted to just kind of, I don't know, like it might be another topic for another day, but in terms of parenting, I do think there needs to be a fine line, but I think there definitely needs to be more encouragement, more positive talking, more uplifting of our kids, and putting that, having them to not have a fearful mindset. And like you said, try something or do some things and apologize later. That's also their mindset. To just, and being fearless and just doing what I want to do and just believe that you can do it until somebody tells you no. I think we really do need to do more of that ourselves. So I kind of would like your feedback and your opinion on that. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Quick to the point. I agree. I totally agree. We have to do more positive reinforcement with our children, more affirmations. And you're right, that little white woman said, you are perfect. You know how many times I've heard people say that? That's why I said, wow. And you know what? It's true. They don't listen. Very few white kids, from what I've seen, very few white people teach their children to be humble. The ones that do, the kids come out more balanced. You can always talk. You talk to people in the office, you meet them on the street, you can kind of tell the ones who were taught to be balanced and ones who were not. It's very clear. And I noticed that everything, like I used to be head of security in a nightclub in the city, right? And I noticed that those who gave me the most problems were these entitled white kids. Black kids come in, they kind of hustle me a little bit to get in. No idea. I say, no, it ain't happening. Okay, cool. They accept that, they go. Asian kids, pretty much tell them, okay, they understand, they go. The white kids, I got to have a debate with them sometime. They try every little thing to get past in the door. Every little excuse. I just kind of stop talking to them and just look at them and just kind of bat my eyes. Like, they're like, you listening? I say, not really. I done told you. Go get your ID, okay? I'm not going to have this discussion with you anymore. You want to sit in there? You want to talk to yourself? Step aside. You're blocking the line. So it's just that they have this entitlement. It's instilled in them at a very young age. And what black parents need to really understand is when your child's developing their brain, how they sort through problems, it's best to give them a sense of invincibility to solving problems. Not dealing with people and their emotions, but solving problems. Like, for example, if you have your child working on an electronic project and really like electronics, they say, it's too hard, Daddy. Oh, Mom, it's so hard, I can't do it. You're like, you know what? Like my cousin Jay talks to his kids, and you know what? You're a Braxton. And what do Braxtons do? We finish. We're strong. We're tough. We can do anything. I watch my cousin. He gets it. My cousin gets it. See, you have to get it. And those on the phone, if you guys don't get it, work on that. If you got parents, if you already parented your kids and they're grown, they still need us, family. I look for my parents' approval up until like 25, 30 years old. And as dysfunctional as my family was, I still wanted my dad's approval up until like 30. You know what I'm saying? So it's like we kind of black people kick you out the house in this country. They're like, you know what, you grown now, go do your thing. They call back. If you listen to your children, you kind of know when they have a problem. Okay, they may not say it, they may not admit it, but you know your children. You should know your children. The mistake we make, hey, I had it hard, son. You got to deal with that. Tough it out, whatever. That might work. We're talking about hard work and cutting grass, or you out there trying to make money and you come home complaining, boy, I had to work hard, you got to get up there and get it. That's okay, that's different. When it comes to dealing with problems, social problems at school, whatever, you have to spend that time with your child. Man, you know what? I look back at even my example of my life, myself. The things I've done in my life, and I'm not trying to be a brag or anything like that, but I've done some things in my life that I thought I'd never do. I've traveled different parts of the world. Thought I'd never do that. I've been able to understand people from different backgrounds. Hold a talk and conversation with people who would never really talk to people, of black descent. I've done things that small accomplishments. I've done things in the tech world that I thought I could never do. I mean, the last companies I worked for in the corporate America, I was the number one highest paid technician in the whole in the whole department, and I was the only black man in the whole department. You follow me? I've done things I never thought I would do, but the thing is, I said, man, Wolf, I could have been so much more had my father and mother put more into me as a young child. I look back and I say, wow, what could have I done? But at the same time, you know what? The hardship made me tough. The hardship made me tough. Moving out at 17 years old, on my own, paying my own bills, suffering, toughing it out with no parents, living with me, doing it on my own, staying in school, bought my first car, got my first job. That all made me tough. 17. At 20 years old, 17 to 19, I became a man. That was my rites of passage. My rites of passage was not having it my mother's way. She let me and my older brother go out the house and figure it out. We had a house back in the South. We moved. That's all we had was a roof over our head. Everything else I had to provide for myself. And I'm going to tell you, that was my rites of passage. That's why the people who know me, that's why I'm the way I am. Because I was taught to be a man at a very young age. I taught to learn people at a very young age. I'm not the rule. I'm the exception. So I'm telling you, I look back, I took notes. Everything happened in my life, took mental notes. That's why I can regurgitate this stuff to the audience and let people know this is how you do certain things. Because I learned that the hard way. So I asked myself, with all I've been through, I still didn't go to the street. I still didn't sell dope. I still didn't kill nobody. I still didn't stab nobody. Well, I won't say I ain't stabbed nobody. I ain't hurt nobody to the point they couldn't recover from it. We'll just say it like that. But I'm just saying that I survived, and I ain't never been on drugs. Okay? So my point is, look at what I could have been. More so, had I had a father who knew how to put into his children. My mama, she did the best she could do. She should never have had the responsibility to raise 3 boys to be men. That never should have been her job on her own. She did the best she could do. I ain't going to blame her for that. She could have done some other things better, but as far as raising us to be men, that's my father's job. I don't blame my mom for none of that. And I love them both. It's still loving it for both of them. We go out, we have differences or whatever, but the thing is, I don't have no extra anger in my heart for my father. Because I had that talk with him. We did that one-on-one thing, got off my chest, I moved on my life. Before that, I couldn't move on. So we have to put more in our children. It's so true, so true. And those family, it's going to be hard. Those who are called, I see you guys on here. I know most of you guys probably are good people as far as with your friends. You got children, you're probably good parents. But there are some people you know or may know in your family, in your community, where you live, you can help somebody. I mean, it's amazing, the people that I've mentored over my life. None of them being my children. But they always say, you know what, thank you. Some, even today, I get wind of an ex-girlfriend from I'm talking about 10 years back. She tell me, Her son still he said that was the best that was the best part of my life right there. When you dated Sean. That made me feel good to hear that. Somebody think that I was the best part of their life 10, 15 years ago. I'm like, wow. That made me feel like, you know what? Maybe I did do something good. And last I heard, I mean, I don't hear from him. It's been years. They ain't had no, children out of wedlock or had no children on the street, And his father was an asshole. He was an asshole. Let me tell you that right now. Boy, was he. Now I get on him. Oh boy. But my point is, family, we can help somebody. Help them. Because the people they're going against in this world, they don't give two shits about. And if we not stepping up, being like you said, my brother said, we being what it says, I don't know, like a foster parent or surrogate dads, surrogate big brothers, sisters, mothers. We have to do that. If we don't do that, what's going to happen when we get to be older, seniors? Who's going to be looking out for us? If we don't help the next generation, family, that's our investment. That is our investment. If we don't take care of this, it's going to take care of us in the worst way. And I tell you, I don't know about you guys, I'm not going to be in this country to be run over by young knuckleheads as an old man. I'd rather be in another country where everybody still believe in village lifestyle and everybody take care of the elderly people. And I'm going to be in a country and it'd be like people running me over, kicking me down, my little cane and my wheelchair, slapping me in the back of the head, disrespecting me as an older man. These next fools coming up, these fatherless boys, I'm going to have a whole topic on fatherless boys and later on. But this is a preset. Poor parenting. If you messed up, family, there's still hope. Even with a door that's solidly closed, pry bar get in there to pry it open and crack it open for you to grab your fingers in there to open that door again. And that pry bar family is somebody in your family, somebody in your friend circle, somebody in a mentor circle, somebody else knows to help you, your children. And you better get that pry bar in there to help your kids before that door is closed permanently, and that's a casket. So I'm going to leave you guys that with that family tonight. Make sure you guys vote tomorrow if you ain't already voted. I mailed mine in last week. I ain't respecting other presidents. The situation choice is not that great, but it's a lot of shit on the butt. It need to be handled. So I hope you guys handle that business tomorrow. I post in the group. Follow us on Twitter at Bay Area Black. Follow us on Facebook, the Bay Area Black Community Group. If it's private, you in there. The Bay Area Black Community page. You can like us on that. Or also like us on YouTube. And you got any comments, put them in the video on YouTube. We can discuss that too. You can email me at bayareablack@gmail.com. If you want to give a donation to us, $10, $20, $30 donation, whatever you want to give, go to www.bayareablack.org. All those things are in there. I also posted in the group tonight. I posted, if you don't know your voting location, look on the Facebook page, the Bay Area Black Community Facebook page. The link's there to find out where you should be voting tomorrow. So, guys, we'll know tomorrow what we're going to deal with in the next 4 years of this election or next presidency. We'll know if it's going to be Trump or Hillary. I still think it's going to be Trump, unfortunately, because I think a lot of folks ain't coming to vote this time, and there's a lot going on, and you're going to see. And like I told somebody today, if God allows it to happen, then it's time, family. It's time for America to go down. And you know what? It is what it is. So you guys have a good night. God bless you. Wolf out.